In today's episode, we are talking about website tech, the tech stacks that we use, and how we approach that within our work and how it benefits our clients. I wanted to touch on tech shaming as well, because if you've been around for a while, the chances are you are going to have felt tech shamed at some point by another developer saying that they do it differently or doing it wrong or whatever else. Well, this episode has been created especially for you. Hello and welcome to another episode of Websites Made Simple with me, Christie. I am a website designer, I am a website designer's mentor, and I am here to help you have a really happy website career. So let's get started. I have so many stories about tech shaming, particularly because I spend a lot of time on LinkedIn. And there are people of all calibers there, people who have been designing and developing since they were really tiny, and people who are doing it for a second or third career, people who use page builders, people who are coding from scratch, and absolutely everybody in between. And everyone has a different opinion. I have been told in LinkedIn posts that my opinions are irrelevant by people who have much smaller communities than me, do much smaller projects than me. And I often have thought that it's not necessarily that my opinions or my processes or my thoughts are irrelevant. And as this podcast is recorded, we've had nearly 380,000 downloads of it. So it kind of tells me that, yeah, maybe I've got some stuff that we're going to talk through. I have my Sparks mentoring group, and if you're new to the podcast and you haven't heard of Sparks, it is a mentoring weekly session for website designers, developers, SEO specialists, even let some copywriters in sometimes. And it's a weekly space where we can jump on Zoom, you get some mentoring from me, we have masterclasses, and we talk through anything that's come up that week as well. And the real focus of Sparks, and really the real focus of my work, is that it's about collaboration, not competition. There are enough seats at the table, but the way to get your seat is to work to best practices, and that's what I am here to help you to do. And the very first thing that I wanted to talk through is when we are delivering websites, it's not about the tech that we've used. It's not about whether it's Wix or whether it's WordPress or Squarespace or React or whatever else. It's not about that. It's about what we are delivering to the client. Are we delivering what we promised? Are we delivering a website that converts, that brings in leads, that makes sales, that gets found by Google? And usually as web designers, we offer all of these things as standard, but at the same time, we can only work with what we've got. So if we get something and the copy's absolute crap, then it's not going to convert. We have to find the way that we can deliver on what we've promised. And that is having all the setup right, having the SEO right, and all that sort of thing. Whether we are doing that on Squarespace, whether we're doing it on WordPress, whether we're doing it on any of the other platforms, doesn't matter, because we are just using different tools to achieve the same end result. And one of the really big end results and one of the really big factors that I like to have in with my websites is it easy for the client to use? Because most clients are a little bit afraid of website tech. Their website isn't something they're on every day. It's not tech that they're used to using every day. And what they need is something that's very easy for them. And it might be that they want to add a blog post, or it could be that they want to change some text or add an image, or they want to put up a new page or whatever it is. Are they able to do this? Some people will use page builders and they'll teach them how to use the page builders. That's my method of doing things because I particularly work with lots of coaches actually. And coaches are so often creating new offers and one-off workshops and things like that they need quite a lot of access to their website. And a page builder is often a really good way to do that. I know other people who say, no, I want to lock down the design, I want to lock down the frame. I'm just going to use advanced custom fields and pad it out so that the client can do what they need to do without breaking anything else on the site. And then you've got those assholes, developers who hard code a website all into the database. and no one's really able to do anything with it. I sometimes feel that the developers do that so that the client needs to come back to them if they are having something they want to update on the website or whatever else. And whilst I'm not into tech shaming, I'm not into saying that you shouldn't do this or you shouldn't do that. But there is a thing that if a client has paid for a website, that website belongs to them and they should be able to access it, and they should be able to access it easily. And I would generally say try and find a method of working. So not necessarily the tech, because lots of people who hard code websites, they're using WordPress to do that, but try and find a method that is a good middle ground so that your clients can walk away really happy, because happy clients come back to you for more work as well. So it is really important that we give them that good experience as well. We've all heard the case of the disappearing developer where a client says, oh, I've had my website built, but I just can't get hold of the developer to make changes, or, they ghost me, or they take a long time. And trust me, I get it. As a designer, as someone who's creative, as someone who spent hours and hours and hours building websites, and then by the time you sign it off, you kind of think, oh, I never want to see that website again. And then the client's like, hi, me again. Can we just do this? Can we just do that? It's one of the reasons that my follow-up process is so robust, because I want the client to feel really empowered with their website. Because when they feel empowered with their website, they don't come back to me to make changes to the site. So it's win-win. Have a really good look at how you currently sign off your website. That means looking at internal processes like checklists and things like that. And I do have an episode on how to sign off a website really well, so you don't miss any of the steps. It also has a checklist download to go with it. So that might be something that you'd be interested in here as well. But also, how are we handing it over to the client? Are we handing over with an admin login? Are we doing a recorded Zoom session, for example, teaching them how to use the site? Do we have a user manual, which is what I use? We don't want to just hand over a site, say, here's your admin login, and run, because it never goes well. So when we're doing that, we really want to make sure that whether it's the client or whether it's another designer or whether it's a VA they've got working on the website, because that happens more and more, can they log into the website? Can they manage it? Can they make changes to it? Because trust me, locked down websites just end up a really big headache for everybody. So really, when it comes down to the tech, it's not really about what you're using. It's about how you're using it. And when we are building websites, we are always building our websites with two people in mind. The client who has commissioned us for the website build, because this website belongs to them, but also the user and the visitor who is coming to the website the other end. Can they navigate it easily? All the sorts of things that we know that we need to cover as well. But one of the reasons that I think, or I feel, that people tech shame is because there's so much imposter syndrome in website design. So many of us are self-taught, including the really techie developers as well. We're not always sure that we're getting it right. We're in a really competitive industry, and within that really competitive industry, we're winning some projects, we're losing other projects, we're going up against lots of other people for projects at times, and sometimes it might be that you build using Elementor and you've lost a project to a techie developer who's hard coding something. And it doesn't mean that the way that you're doing it is wrong. It just means that the client used that other person for whatever reason they chose to. Sometimes it's just a personality thing. And I'm lucky I have a waiting list of clients, and my clients are there really from a personality point of view. That I often get told by clients that the website build was more money than they wanted to pay, but they wanted to work with me, and so they were going to pay the money to do that. If you are feeling like, oh yeah, Holly, that's it, that I just feel that maybe my websites aren't good enough, or I'm happy with my tech stack, but I feel exposed when another designer or developer talks about it or something like that, then I've got an episode on imposter syndrome, and it's called Every Website Designer Feels Like a Fraud Sometimes. Go and have a listen to that. I think it will really help you. We've all been there, and you're not alone, and your tech stack's not broken. You're not doing it wrong. And if you just keep having those two people first and foremost at heart when you are building your website. So you are building for your client, because when that website's built in 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, you get to go and live your life. You don't have to worry about it again. But this is the client's investment. It's their online representation of them. And it's something that they're only going to want to be doing every few years. So we want to make it a really good experience for them. And when they are ready to come back for their new site in a few years' time, you want them to choose you again. I tell you, that feels really good. I've just booked a really big couple of website projects with an existing client who said to me, in 20 years of working with web designers, I've never gone back to the same person twice until now. That's not about the tech stack we used. It's about having the client in mind at all times and the visitor the other side of the website, because we want those websites to convert, and really good user experience coupled with very good SEO is what converts. So that's all from me today. I would love to hear from you. I would love to hear about what tech stack you're using, what you really like about it. I'm always up for trying more things, learning more things, discovering new things as well. In fact, I am currently working in a different website page builder. I'm trialing Beaver Builder, which a couple of my Sparkies members, my Spark groups use, and one set me up with it and said, have a go, see how you find it. Let me know how you're doing with your tech stack as well. And if you feel like you've been tech shamed, how it's made you feel. Or if you're feeling brave enough, we've all been there when we've tech shamed one and gone, oh no, I'm not going to use that. Tell me about that too. You can find me at hello@websitesmadesimple.co.uk. You can find me on LinkedIn at Holly C. Christie. And until next time, no tech shaming.